Well, Ryan, the tables have turned. It's Montreal's time in the sun. Go ahead, let me have it after Saturday night. I have
Well,
no rebuttal.
I feel the tiniest bit of remorse that
No, you don't.
I am stapling you to the couch
No,
for
you
another
don't.
week.
I can see nobody else can see the big smile on your face.
I have been ear to ear since last night.
It was just
It
bad.
was it was a beating. It was a beating. The score did not really from the second period on. The score did not really
It was
show what that
over.
game was
It was
like.
over after the
It could have been
second period.
7-0 after two periods.
If it wasn't for Wool, it would have been 10-0.
Honestly, like that was a it was a mercy pull. Like it wasn't a
It
pull because
was
he wasn't playing
absolutely
well.
a mercy pull.
It was a mercy. It's
Absolutely.
like,
They need
dude, you're
him.
playing your head off and you're exhausted because
Well,
you're
actually,
just getting lambasted with shots.
Berube said it after the game in his press conference when somebody asked him why did you pull him? Did you pull him as a mercy pull or was it a to light a fire under the team? He said both. He goes, we already have one injured goalie. I didn't need another one.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair
So
enough. I mean, it was I have not. I think they said it best during the game on the Sportsnet broadcast. It's like the Canadians are passing it around like they're at practice.
oh,
Like there was no pressure on them in the
it was like they were
offensive
playing a
zone at
junior
all.
team. It was just pathetic. Again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but was it three goals by trailing players?
Yep.
There's just zero connection, zero structure to the Leafs' defensive zone structure. It's just pathetic with guys
Well,
not covering guys and it's like when you're watching Pee Wee hockey, all five guys are watching the puck carrier and no one's watching what's going on behind them. And there's just no structure, there's no compete, there's just nothing. It's
well,
just terrible.
you're missing
Oh,
a lot of your good players, right? And you lost a couple more during the game. There was no Nyes, no Tanev, no Matthews, no Mitch Marner. Oh, sorry, he doesn't play for
oh,
your
there
team
you go.
anymore.
You just slipped.
um, you you were missing a lot of your top players, and when you're gonna rely on John Tavares to, what did he have, like 21, 22 minutes in that night?
Yeah.
Well, he can't do that anymore.
Oh, even Cowan was up there at
Yeah,
20
Cowan was
minutes.
way up there. I mean, they tried. Nylander had a goal and he played pretty well. I'd say, but I did text you in the middle of the game. It's like, oh, Willie's in watching mode again.
Oh, he just
He
disappears at moments. It's just a problem with Nylander. When he's not engaged,
When he
it's
doesn't have the puck
noticeable.
on his stick, when he doesn't have the puck on his stick, he is a different player in a game that he doesn't care about.
Yeah. And
And he
look,
clearly didn't care too much about that
the
one.
the injuries are obviously a huge problem, but and if they had been playing well before the injuries, I would say the injuries are causing a lot of this or the root cause, but they were playing poorly structured hockey beforehand. And now it's
Yep.
just exasperated or it's just larger and more noticeable now when you've got your extra guys in there and it's just terrible.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
zero compete and they're not playing 60 minutes of hockey. They woke up at one point there at the beginning of the third period for about 5 minutes, scored a couple goals and then fell back asleep. And
Yep.
poor left poor John Wool out there to Joseph Wool to get peppered. And yeah, I don't blame Berube for pulling him there in the second period because he was just going to get killed.
Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing all along, and it's hard for me to get too excited about the Canadians' performance. Although I thought they played very well. Still have goaltending worries. I thought Dobas played pretty well considering he didn't have that much action for most of the game. But in the third period, those two goals that he did give up were partially screened, so I can only you know put a little bit of blame on him. But at the same time, I was really concerned that in both of those goals, he had slid a little bit out of position. And the
Yeah, but
criticism with him these days is that he's moving too much in the net. And, he had been past the post on both of those goals where he got beaten far side. And then there were a couple of saves that he made that seemed to me to be a little bit more athletic than they needed to be because he was a little bit out of position. And so, yes, they won the game and they won it comfortably, but the goaltending concerns are still with me a little bit. So we'll.
yeah, he'll find his way. Like the goaltenders, when they start to struggle a little bit, you're right. They lose their net a little bit. They start moving too much. But also, I think in last night on Saturday night's game, it's a little bit of a case where the team fell asleep because it was so lopsided in the
It
second
was very
period.
dominant. Yeah.
And you fall asleep like that, all of a sudden you get a little loose and your players in front of you get in your way. They don't, it was, you can't blame him for either of those two goals. They were kind of just happened,
Hmm.
and yeah, I sort of take that. I don't blame any of those on Dobish, and it was just pathetic effort by the Leafs. I'm losing words on what to say and how to describe their effort, and I
Well, I'll tell you this much. I'll tell you this much. Give them a broom because if you're going to spend some time in the basement, you might as well sweep
oh
out.
well, there's a good point there. We are now, thanks to the Sabres winning on Sunday, the Leafs are now last in the East,
Yeah, last in the East
and
and 4 points out of a playoff spot. So
yeah.
there's a positive story and a very negative
Well,
story
I
all at
got
the same
another
time.
positive story, sort of positive story, or tongue-in-cheek positive story. That thank God that the Leafs first round draft choice that they gave up to get Carlo in the 2026 draft was top five protected because guess where they are right now? They're in the
That
bottom five of the league.
that's a good point.
So if
That's a good
they
one. They may get to
they
keep their
might to
number
get to
six
keep
draft
their
pick.
first rate. We might be in the Gavin McKenna sweepstakes, and we might be able to keep them, which would be awesome. So maybe right now we just tank and go for the first overall draft choice because if not, we don't have one through 2027, maybe in 2028. Because here's what happens: the Leafs gave up their 2026 draft choice, as I said, for Carlo. They gave up their
Hmm.
2027 one to get Lawton. Now, if they do keep their 2026 because it's top five, then the 26 and 27 slides to 27, 28. So, and by the way, the 27 one is top 10 protected. So there's a chance they have draft choices the next
Yeah,
couple of
yeah. Well,
years.
look,
But
I want the Leafs to play better than they're playing now, simply because I don't want the Bruins to get a decent draft pick.
well, if it's top five, the Leafs keep it, right?
I know,
So,
but if it's
and right
but if
now
it's
they're
but if
in the
it's
bottom
18
five.
if it's 18 or 19, then the Bruins get an 18 or 19 and not a great pick like a
Yeah.
6 or a 7.
Yeah, look,
But
they got to dig themselves out. Look at the last eight games now. They're 1-5-2.
mhm.
They're minus 10 goal differential. They're 19% on the power play, and their goals, their save percentage is 890. And some of that can't be blamed on the goaltending. It's the defensive structure in their own end. They're still spending way too much time in their own end. They're still spending 42.5% of their time in their own end. That is terrible.
Yeah, it's not great. And I would also remind you though, you're down 10 of your best defensive defenseman. And
No question.
now you're down McCabe, who's your best overall
Yeah,
defenseman.
and there, no one's saying what happened there, but where the puck hit him in the jaw there, it very well could be a broken jaw or broken something in his jawbone or something. But that's not good when you lose McCabe, and he's our best defenseman right now, without question. And the amount of giveaways, like I lost count last night on the amount of giveaways they either had on the offensive blue line or on the defensive blue line, having trouble getting out of their own end. It was again, I'm losing ways to say how much and how poorly they're playing right now and defensive
Yeah.
structure. And unless they find a way to get better structure and play properly, and by the way, and I know I'm beating a dead horse here as well, can someone tell me what position Jason Robertson plays?
I mean, Nick Robertson,
Nick
Jason Robertson
Robertson,
plays
whatever. The Robertson
plays for the
idiots.
Dallas
Like,
Stars.
come on. Like, he's behind his own net. He's in the left defensive zone corner. He's in the right defensive corner. And by the way, his defenseman scored twice last night. So, like, come on. Take
Well,
him out of the lineup. I don't care who you put in. Please. And he falls down,
that's the text that I laugh
falls
at the most. Is
down.
like, how
Like,
many
all of a
times is
sudden,
Nick
he's,
Robertson
he's
going to fall down tonight?
is he trying to be a Zamboni? Like, come on.
What you mean, like
Jesus.
cleaning the ice with his ass?
Oh,
Is that what you
Jesus.
mean?
It's just all of a sudden he falls down, like no matter where he's on the ice.
I
Puck
find
hits
that
him
he
on the
falls
stick and he
down.
falls down.
He falls down mostly in the corners. Like he wipes out in one-on-one battles more than anybody I've ever seen.
He's just
Um,
terrible. I can't stand watching him play.
if he was on my team, every time he comes into the zone and pulls up, to look for a trailer to make a pass, I would panic because
Oh,
he turns the puck over at
oh,
least 50% of the time
it's
doing
just
that.
terrible. Anyway,
It's awful. Anyway,
let's get on with it. Going.
look, the
Congratulations to the
Canadians, thank
Habs.
you.
By
Yeah,
the way,
thank
we
you.
get to do it
Thank
in a
you.
couple weeks again because they play
In
again December
Toronto.
6th in
In
Toronto. So we're
Toronto.
going to get to
Yep.
do. We're going to get a redo. Hopefully, we have some of our players back by then. If not, you know what? I might not watch.
Well, I will send you text narrating the whole
Yeah,
game to you if
yeah,
you're not. But look, the Canadians have a tough week on the road ahead. So we'll
yeah.
see if this. Look, last year it took a devastating loss against Washington to light a fire under them. They had a
Yep.
bag skate the next day, and that turned their season around. They lost 8-4 to Washington this week. Apparently, they had a pretty difficult practice the next day, and they looked great against Toronto. But now they got to go out west. They're playing Utah, Vegas, and Colorado in I don't know 5 nights.
Boo hoo.
So and that Colorado
Yes.
on the second leg of a back to back. That's going to be a
Yeah.
tough game
Yeah.
at altitude, no
Yeah. No
less.
question.
So if they win that game, it'll be a bloody miracle. But we'll see. We'll
Well,
see how they do. There are lots of other things to talk about in the league this
well,
week. So
before
we
we
don't
go
want
there,
to.
that's just because you make a big point about the road now the Habs got in front of them. The Leafs playing their worst possible hockey. The game on Saturday was the first of six consecutive on the road. Um, and they've got to dig themselves out of this ditch somehow. But the only silver lining in this is that Berube took the St. Louis Blues from dead last in their division in what was it year they won the St. Louis Blues. So
Was that 2017? I don't
20s,
know.
whatever. So now the Leafs are there. There's nowhere but up. And if Berube can pull a miracle out of his rear end again and drive the Leafs to the final, but you know what? I might have to call it now that maybe the Leafs just ain't going to make the playoffs this year
Oh,
because the way they're looking right now, they
mm.
had no shot.
Well,
No
things have
shot.
look. Teams have turned around before.
Yeah.
Teams have turned around
We
before. You
can
got a
only hope.
lot of work ahead of you.
But
That's for
like you say,
sure.
there's lots of good things to talk about. And you mentioned one of them, Colorado Avalanche. Jeez,
Good
how well
Lord.
they're playing.
Good Lord. What are they?
One only
15, 16, 1 and 5, is it?
Yeah, 16 1 and 5. They've only lost
Good
one
Lord.
game in regulation. They lead the league in goals at 88, eight ahead of the next team and behind them. They lead the goals. They lead in the goals against at 50, again six ahead of the team in front of them. It's just impressive as I think we talked about earlier. It's all the way up and down the lineup
Yep.
is just they're impressive how well they're playing and how well their team is performing. You know, obviously led by McKinnon, 37 points, and McCarr at 29. But look how well Natchez has just fit in with his team like a glove since he's joined the organization. It's just he's looked really good.
Yeah. So here's some stats that illustrate their dominance, possibly better than any I can think of. Here are your top 5 leaders in plus minus in the NHL as of today. Number 1, Nathan McKinnon, plus 23. Number 2, Cale Makar, plus 22. Number 3, Arturi Lehkonen, plus 19. Number 3, Martin Necas, 19. Number 5, Devon Tays, plus 16. The top 5 plus minus players in the entire league are all on the Colorado Avalanche. It
Well,
tells you everything you need to know about that team.
I think we talked about before we came we started recording here. They've actually only got one player that is a minus, Ilya Solyarov, who's played 9 games. I don't even know who he is, but he's the only player on the roster is a -4. He's got no points and he's a -4. The rest of
Yeah.
the players are, and they've only got two at even. Taylor McCarr, who's played 3 games, and Victor Olofsson, that's even. The rest of the players are all in the plus. That
Yeah.
is
And by the way,
impressive.
Victor Olofsson also has 15 points on the season. So
Yes.
he's still contributing. By the way, number 4 in the league, goals against average, Scott Wedgwood. Like there's everything on this team is clicking. Everything.
Yep.
Like everybody else is just sort of playing for second at this point.
Remind everybody who I picked to win the Stanley Cup this year.
The
Might be
Edmonton
looking
Oilers,
pretty
right?
good. No, 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 I did not. I did not. I did not. I picked Calgary. I mean, Colorado.
Well, it would have been funnier if you
It's
picked
looking
Calgary.
pretty good
If you
right
if
now.
you had picked Calgary and Toronto in the file, that would have been
It's
a
bad enough
hell
I
of a
picked Toronto to
call.
go to the final to begin with.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive what they're doing, I have to say. Good for them. They took a lot of heat when they traded Rantanen away. A lot of heat. And there you go. They've absolutely proven their
Yeah.
management direction was the right one.
Joe
And
Sakic has pushed the right buttons, I guess, right?
yep,
But
absolutely.
but while you're on there, do we want to talk about Mikko Rantanen right now?
Speaking of Mikko Rantanen, who has
Holy
suddenly
moly.
become the new Brian Marchment of the league, uh,
Just
like
not good. That's two games in
no,
a row now. He's
was it
gotten
two in a
bored
row
and
or
been
two out of
taking
three?
two out of three, I think.
Two out of three. Yeah,
But first of all, Romanov last week he nailed from behind. Well, I nailed from behind, but Romanov was just inside the red line of the ends of the
yeah.
behind the net.
He was at that really dangerous
Yeah,
3 to 4 feet away from the
and
boards
that's the problem. And then
place.
Rantanen shoved him and actually extends his arms. I can't believe that the league didn't step in there and suspend him beyond the game misconduct because it was that bad. I thought it was a really bad play. And I think Waz right in his post game. So when you see the numbers, you got to find a way to stop.
Yeah, yeah. I
And now
agree. I
Romanov is
agree with
out
all of
five to
that.
6 months with with an 5 to 6 months with a after having shoulder surgery.
Yeah, say shoulder surgery 5 times
Shoulder
fast.
surgery, yes.
But seriously, though, I do believe he wasn't suspended because the intent wasn't clear. He had just been sort of jostled himself. He was a little bit off balance. He absolutely extended his forearm into the numbers and put him into the boards in a really, really ugly and scary way. Thank God he was able to pull his head up so it was his shoulder and not
Yep.
his neck that took
Yeah.
the brunt of that. But it wasn't really clear what his intent was because he was sort of off balance. He definitely extended the forearm, but you can't really tell if he was trying to shove him or trying to regain his balance or there was enough ambiguity there.
But
However,
I just think the league needs to
however,
stop this stuff. And
yeah,
that's the only way to
but
stop this
however,
stuff is send a message.
yeah, however, 2 games later, there's no such argument.
No.
The hit on Coronado was nasty and right into the numbers. Now, granted, it wasn't at a right angle to the boards. It was at a bit of an angle, but he was facing the boards. He hit him in the numbers and he hurt him pretty badly.
Yeah.
I think you got to lower the boom on that.
Right.
You've got to make people really conscious of where they are on the ice and what they're doing on the ice because these are absolutely the most dangerous plays in
No
hockey.
question. The league needs to make an example of these type of hits and stop the hits from behind because they're dangerous and
Yep.
cause serious injury like the Romanov injuries. Thank God Coronado didn't get badly hurt. But in the numbers, 2 out of 3 games, the league needs to. Rantanen gets an automatic game because of the 2 misconducts within a certain period of time of number of games. But that's not enough in my mind. The league needs to step in and go, okay, you need to have some supplementary discipline here because they need to find a way to cut this out of the game because guys
Yeah.
are going to get hurt.
Yeah. And by the way, if you had to, and you don't have to make this choice, right? But if you did have to make a choice between focusing on these hits versus focusing on the blindside defenseless position hits, I think you drop that emphasis
No question.
and emphasize solely on the hits from behind and the elbows to the head. If a guy has got his head down and he gets rocked from his blind side because he doesn't have his head up, fine. You want to try to get that hit out of the game. You want to avoid concussions and things like that. But compared to the danger inherent in a guy going into the boards head first, they're not comparable. Like if there's one thing you absolutely have to get out of the game, it's that. It's the two-handed slash to the head, which thankfully only happens once every 25 years.
Yeah.
But the hits from behind near the boards, it just has to stop. It has to
The
stop.
boards are so unforgiving in most of these rinks, the way they're cemented in some cases, or pulled in, or whatever they are.
Well,
They're
you
just
just
not
played You just
they're not
played.
given. Yeah, I just played in Tampa
You
Bay
just
for
played
4
in
years.
Tampa
Yeah.
on
But
Amalie
in old
ice.
man hockey, no one's hitting anybody, let alone hitting anybody into the boards from behind. The thing in old man hockey you got to worry about is the guy tripping himself into the boards.
It's, if you can read the numbers, if you
Yeah,
can see the numbers.
exactly. Yeah. But
um,
you wanted to talk a little bit too about the Philadelphia Flyers and Zegras, and yet a few other things you wanted to highlight this week.
yeah. Like, let's talk about the Flyers, the Isles, and the Bruins. These are three Eastern teams that have surprised early, and then they've really kind of picked their games up in the last 10. I looked at their last 10. The Flyers are 5-3-2 in their last 10. Uh, their last game they managed to score 3 goals in 26 seconds for a big win. I think they're picking their offense up a little bit. Obviously, Zegras is playing really well. He's a point a game guy. Obviously, a point a game guy you'd love to see with a better plus minus than zero. But
Yeah.
but that's what you get with Trevor Zegras, right?
Yeah.
You're starting to see a little bit more from Matvei Michkov on 5-on-5. He's obviously been playing very well on the power play, but he's been doing nothing. He was invisible in this game against Montreal,
Yeah.
5-on-5, and he's starting to pick it up a little bit too. They've got getting some decent goaltending too. Now their D is still very young and they've got a long way to go, but they're not a bad team. My question is, does this mean they're going to be in the same place they were 2 years ago when they should be getting higher draft picks to complete their rebuild? But instead, they're playing above their heads and they're going to get a medium draft pick and still miss the playoffs.
Well, they're going to get a high draft pick from Toronto either next year or the year after. Well, 2027 or maybe 2028. So they're going to get
I
one from
think
Toronto.
I think Toronto in the early 30s could be a tough place to be a hockey fan. But
Yeah.
the next is the Isles. Right now, it's a real sad story about Romanov, who's a top 4D for them, but they're 7-3 in their last 10, and they're
I still don't
getting.
think they're going to make the playoffs.
I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs either, but they're with Schaefer's cooled off a little bit, but he's
Yeah.
playing really well, especially defensively. Polak is a great defenseman. Barzal's finding his game, especially as a distributor. He's not
Mhm.
scoring as many goals as he used to, but he's being a fantastic distributor. Emil Heineman, who they got for Noah Dobson from the Canadiens, has been the player that the Canadiens knew he would probably be, and felt bad about trading because he's already got 9 goals on the season, and
Yeah.
he's a physical force too. Like he's really the kind of player that you need to win in the Metro Division.
Yeah.
Then you look at the Bruins, who are also 7-3 in their last 10. And as much as it kills me to compliment the Bruins, but look at them. They've got 74 goals on the year. They've played one more game than most of the teams in the league, but they've got 74 goals. They're up at the top of the goals scored, which you never thought was going to happen at the beginning of the year. You thought this team would really struggle to score goals. And
Absolutely.
now, granted, more than a third, like about 36% of their goals are from Geeky and Pasta. So
Exactly.
that's a pretty heavy reliance on two guys.
Right.
But
They're the only two
it,
players with more than 10 goals at the moment.
yeah,
So,
it's working for them though. It's really working for them, and obviously they got the bounce back season from Jeremy Swayman. Right? Everybody before the season said if the Bruins were going to surprise, it was because Jeremy Swayman refound his game, and that
right.
win against the Canadiens last week, he stole that.
Right.
Like Jeremy Swayman played really
Yeah.
well. Um,
Here's the problem for Boston though.
mm-hmm.
Can they keep this going losing Charlie McAvoy?
Yeah,
Because he
that
could
was
be out for a while.
ugly.
That was nasty
That
puck
was
to the face.
ugly.
You could see in the slow. I don't know how
Yeah,
many
you could
times
see
they
the
replayed.
teeth
Your
going
teeth fall
flying.
out,
Yeah,
which was pretty bad. And with him out of the lineup long term, can they keep this going? Because they're not deep
no, they're not.
as a team, let alone in defense. They got him and Zadorov,
Yeah,
but I question how deep they are and that they can sustain an injury like that to a key player like that. And you know what? He could be gone, and we know we don't want to talk about the Olympics, but he could be gone for the Olympics. That was nasty.
sign up Lane Hudson.
He might
Next
be
man
there.
up.
Next
Next
man up.
man up.
Next man up. But yeah, like
Um,
that's my question for the Bruins is like we neither of us thought that the Bruins were going to have the season. I don't think many people thought they were going to be off to this kind of a start and have these kind of runs.
mhm.
But these type of injuries aren't going to help them sustain it.
Yeah. On the other hand, there's something about the Bruins that reminds me a little bit about of the Montreal Canadiens for that large period of time from 2010 to 2020 where they just got by on goaltending. They went from mediocrity to pretty good, and they threatened to get into the conference finals once in a blue moon, but they never really threatened to win a Stanley Cup because they never sort of fell far enough to
Right.
get star players um like they were stuck in the mushy middle.
Yeah.
And the Boston Bruins kind of with a guy like Swayman, he's never going to when he's playing the way he's playing, which is
Right.
fantastic. He's never going to let you get bad enough
Right.
to tank.
Right.
And so the Bruins might just be a perfectly good team, but not exceptional team for years because of that.
Right. Right.
You're always at the fringes, but it will take a miracle for you to win a cup.
Again, they might get a top six, top 10 pick of the Leafs next year.
That's a fair point. It's a
Look at
fair
all these
point.
teams in that mushy middle we're talking about, all the Leafs
Yeah,
top
but
picks in the
let's
next few
let's
years.
let's be clear about one thing. The Leafs are not a bottom five team.
I
They are a mushy middle team. They are a 500 team right now.
yeah, and I
They're
would
playing
actually
terribly for what they are, but I think they're about a
yeah, and
500 team.
yeah, I don't think they should be a bottom five team, but I would say the way they're playing, they're absolutely a bottom five team.
Mm,
If they can't play better structured hockey, they're definitely a bottom five team. There's just not enough
yeah.
talent up and down the lineup. When you got Nick Robertson in your top six, that's a problem. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But
Yeah.
the way they're playing, they're definitely a bottom five team,
Yeah.
and that's
Hey,
all
I
we
want
can
to give
say about
one
it.
leaf. I want to give one leaf a little bit of a little prop.
Who's that?
Uh, because I love the way he plays no matter what the situation is. He plays the same level of aggression and smoothness no matter what the situation is. It's Simon Benoit. He is right now he's probably your top performer on the blue line. If I had to make a controversial claim, I'd say
Yeah, look at that.
you could least
I've been
afford to lose him
pleasantly
right now.
surprised with Benoit, and I gave him a lot of props last year. He played really well. I would agree with you right now. He's probably one of our top. I'd still say that obviously McCabe right now is our top defenseman. Although he's going to be gone for a little while, but Benoit has been very steady and he's been a great piece. So there's no question. But he's also not going to drive this team either, right?
No.
And I think there was been somebody else there that the Leafs just don't have that dogged determination at the moment. It comes and goes, but it's just
Yeah, when
not
your
there. They
biggest
don't have
bulldog is Ty
anybody.
Domi. Oh, sorry,
Eh,
Ty Son. That
Ty's
was for
son.
Ron. That
Yeah,
was for Ron.
yeah. But and he's minus 12 or something like that. And we said that one of the trailings last night was his fault again, right? He's just being terrible in his own end. Um,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
that just can't be. You just can't
Yep.
can't have the defensive lapses that we're having. Look, we've just fallen
All
back from
right.
the
I
Leafs.
don't
Let's
want
get
you.
out of the
You're
Leafs
gonna
thing.
keep burying them. You're gonna
I
keep
just
burying the Leafs. I got to get you off of that. Okay. So next topic. We bring this up every week because it never seems to get old as a topic. Very sadly, is we've got another, I don't know, 67 injuries to report this week. Between as the aforementioned McAvoy, Victor Hedman is out for a few weeks.
yeah.
Matthew Nyes is what day to day. Jack Hughes, I don't know what the hell he did to his hand, but he's
Apparently
had
fell on some glass in a
a
restaurant.
restaurant into fell on some glass. I've my
Just
the
bad.
smart money the smart money was that he was playing that knife game with his hand outstretched and he caught one of his fingers with the knife.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oops.
Alex Romanoff is out 5 to 6 months, as we
Yeah.
said. Drew Doughty is week to week with another injury, which who knows where that leaves him for the
Yeah.
Olympics. Although after the Four Nations, they're definitely saving him a spot.
Yeah.
Foligno in Chicago is out for a while. Connor Hellebuck.
Connor, that's one you can't get past because apparently he had a bit of an injury in the preseason to his knee. They thought he could play through it. He has, and he's played great. But he had to have some kind of small procedure on his knee. And he's out 6 to 8 weeks. Again, forget about the Jets for a moment, and that could hurt the Jets through the next 2 months. But where does that leave your starting goaltender for now?
It just
U.S.
got
is
shut out
deep.
today too.
U.S. is deep in net, but he was pretty darn good in the Four Nations.
Oh
So
God, man, you. It's like this NHL season doesn't even exist for you anymore with
no,
the
I
Leafs
well,
sucking.
it's
All you're
just
thinking
I'm
about is
just
the
thinking about the
Olympics,
four. I'm just thinking about the Olympics.
the
But
Olympics this, Olympics that. But
But the
look,
injuries are just terrible. Like it's just again, I think you brought it
it's
up
this
last
condensed
week. The
schedule. It is
condensed
the
schedule, the fatigue. Again, I just feels like it's so early in the season to have that fatigue causing the issues that it's. Normally, you would see it in the back half of the season, through the middle and the back half of the season. We're seeing a lot of injuries early, like and to big name talent. It's not happening on the fringes. It's happening right at the top.
well, the second. I have a little bit of extra theory about this. To go with my condensed schedule theory is because the season went longer last year with the Four Nations. I think players may have rested a little longer into the summer than they would otherwise do, and they start their training a little
That's
bit
a good theory.
later. And so, they may not have the same
Conditioning.
conditioning and flexibility. Like, what was it? What was Tom Brady's theory about muscle flexibility with his weird diet and all of that? Like,
Yeah.
whatever it was, his sort of pliability. I think it was a
Yeah.
pliability claim or something nonsensical. But to the extent that there's anything to that, um, it's possible that the later rest for some players is causing more
Yeah.
injury susceptibility in the early part of the season. The numbers don't lie. There was an article in the Athletic today about statistically the early season injuries are higher than last year
Oh,
and in past years.
you don't even need
It's
an
not just the
article to
eye
know. You,
test. It's
the eye test is
yeah,
isn't all you need about the injuries this year for sure. But yeah,
yeah.
there's just no question that it's up.
And yeah, and all we're doing is noticing it and lamenting it. It's not like
Yeah.
you and I have any genius solution for it
No.
or anything. It's a real shame, especially when you think about, like, just going back to the Hellebuck injury for a second. Think about where Winnipeg needs to finish to avoid playing
Yeah.
either Colorado or Dallas on the road in the first round. That's a death sentence.
Yeah. We've said that, that whoever comes out of that division has had to run the gauntlet and has a really good chance of either going to the final or being so fatigued that they're going to get knocked out right after it, right?
Yeah,
But
that central division is terrifying. And if you're not playing at home in the first round out of that division, you're toast.
yeah, and look at how key first home ice advantage was to the Jets last year, having Game 7 at home last year.
Yeah.
So important to have that game at home in front of their home crowd. But I think you're right. I think you made that good point of that. It's back-to-back seasons of condensed schedule has just created this whatever it is, and however the players just aren't ready or it's broken their bodies down to a larger extent than. And I think that is definitely a contributing factor. It has to be.
Yeah. That and the hits from
Doesn't,
behind.
yeah, I was going to say that and Miko Rantanen running around hitting from
Miko
people in the
Rantanen just
numbers.
murdering people. Okay, so look, we're running out of time, but
There we go.
I want to take a moment, and I know you share this sentiment with me, Phil.
Yes.
Just for our listeners who don't know, we do have access to some demographic data of our listeners, and it turns out we are very proud to say that we have 2 listeners in Germany who religiously listen to this every
Very
week.
loyal.
Very, very loyal. And we wanted to take a moment to shout out to our 2 German listeners. We don't know where in Germany you are. You're obviously big hockey fans and fans of the podcast, and we wanted to thank you for your diligence and patience in listening to these 2 American living Canadians just yammer on about hockey. But we do want to tell you, hey, tell your friends. More listeners in Germany, the better.
Absolutely. I wish
Right?
we're going to have to start learning a little bit of German so that we can speak to them in their native
Directly.
language. But again, yes, I echo your sentiments. Thank you very much to them, and reach out to us on Instagram. Let us know who you are, or let us know if it's only one person watching twice, because we actually don't know that
Yeah.
either.
The other thing we will say is if we continue to see your attendance on the show. You're listening to
Yes.
the show every week. We will give the German Olympic team a little extra love and a little analysis on the on the Leon Draisaitl Tim Stutzla team.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's great. We appreciate it. And hopefully you're enjoying it as much as we are enjoying doing it.
All right. Well,
Except
Phil,
for weeks like this when the Leafs
especially-
just sucking.
Well, Phil, best of luck for a better week from your team this week. I hope the Canadiens hold their own against some pretty tough competition on the road this week, and we will talk again next week on the Aiming Five Hole podcast.
Excellent. See you later. See you next week.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
This is hockey, the heart of the